evening and welcome to Meticulous Moments. My name is Juanita Kapp. You can reach me at meticulousmacarons@gmail.com or find me on LinkedIn. Since the COVID-19 pandemic hit the globe, I've had the wonderful privilege to meet a wide array of fantastic individuals. These individuals have truly touched my life in so many positive ways. Amongst this group of people, there are authors, public speakers, life coaches, poets, leaders, and visionaries. They are the unsung heroes of our time. Therefore, I decided to start the Meticulous Moments movement out of a sense of my gratitude. It is my way of giving back to the community. Let us share and reshare their stories in an effort to build a better society. Good day, everyone, and welcome to the Meticulous Moments podcast, where we facilitate community upliftment through leadership development. And today we have the phenomenal honor of spending time with my brother and my friend, John Davis Jr. John is an international mindset and fitness coach. He helps you regain your focus and reclaim your power. What an amazing session we had. He is such a strong leader. He is focused on individuals and his heart is to uplift others. I had a stunning discussion, a wonderful in-depth conversation with John Davis Jr. I learned so much and his heart for people really shines through. I have to absolutely read a post that John Davis did, because this is something that really touched my heart. And this is something that he elaborates on extensively in the interview. He wrote, "Do it now, do it now, do it now. That thing you've been sitting on, that dream that you've allowed to rest, that relationship that needs to be rekindled. You are so deserving, my friend. Do not be afraid. We have delayed enough. Now is the time. Do it now, do it now, do it now. You may hear internally, you can't do that. You don't know enough. Arise, my friend. Talk back to that BS belief system. Do it now, do it now, do it now." It is just wonderful and amazing to be blessed with his presence this evening. Thank you, John, for being with us, for making the time to share not only your experience with us, but for being the experience to us and for taking us on a leadership journey. It is greatly appreciated, and I have to say, you are now a part of the Meticulous Moments podcast family. To the audience, sit back, relax and enjoy the stunning person named John Davis Jr. Good evening, Meticulous Moments audience. Thank you so much for joining us for yet another vibrant session with the amazing John Davis Jr. Good evening, John. How are you?
Hey there, Juanita. I am doing absolutely wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm doing so well, thank you. It is such a blessing to have you on Meticulous. I simply can't wait for this interview.
Sure. I've been waiting for you. I did not sleep last night. Let me start there. So I'm actually in the United States, obviously, and I'm in the nation's capital. So there's a lot going on here, obviously, as well. But I am excited to be here in this space with you, my friend.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much. Now, we've had a video call. We've talked on Messenger. I feel like I've known you much longer than I have. But would you like to introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Sure enough. So my name is John Davis Jr. That's one of the easier ways to find me on social media, because John Davis is a very common name. I reside in the United States of America, in the nation's capital here, which is Washington, D.C. I am originally from New Orleans, Louisiana. I have two sisters, a mother and a stepdad that are wonderful in my life. I've been on this growth journey, just like the rest of you listening, for the past 37 years, I would like to say. More directly, the past, I would say 15 years, which is when I got into the business of doing the things that I do now, which is the furniture industry, into the bedding and mattresses we'll talk about, I'm sure, in a little bit. But yeah, so my name is once again John Davis, live in DC, love to help and work with people, love to help other people make money, which is great because I help get the help others provide for themselves and also their families. So that's an awesome accomplishment there that I receive a lot of joy from. But yes, ma'am, John Davis.
I love that. I love that, John. And you know what shines through to me always is your servant heart. And we don't always find that. We find people that are in business, we find people that do great things, but they don't always have a servant heart. Sometimes they are, busy with other projects, and putting people working with people is the last thing on their mind. They know they have a goal and they just want to achieve that. So what I find refreshing about you is the fact that you are truly heart-centered. I mean, it just shines through your love for people. You want to elevate them, you want to help them, and that just excites the heck out of me, because I feel the same way when it comes to leadership. So I want to ask you, where did this all start? How did this lovely leadership journey of yours start? What does leadership signify to you?
Yeah, so this is a great question, and this is one that I love to answer or to comment on. So I love the statement, Juanita, where you mentioned that, hey, John, you definitely have a servant leader's heart. You probably think like he probably has had it since he was born, came out of his mother's womb, wanting to serve other people. But I will tell you, that's not how it all started. I have not always been the person that you see here, the person on the other side of your screen, if you will. My dad died when I was 2 years old. So from the age of knowing, obviously, which would have been maybe like 10 and above, I was actually a very bitter kid. Used to get into a lot of trouble. Did a lot of really bad things, even from that young of an age, with the friends that I hung around. And so school for me was not a priority at all. Serving someone else was not a priority at all. I was mad with the world because my dad was not available or not here on this side of eternity, if you will. And that caused me to spiral into a relationship with my stepdad, whom I love now. But years ago, if I can use the word, if you don't mind, Juanita, I hated him growing up because he wanted to be the servant leader in my life, to be the person that helped me grow and mature and become a man. And I didn't want that from him. I wanted my dad in my life. And so him and I had a very rough, shaky relationship until about the age of maybe like 18, where one day I just woke up and I thought, you know what? I don't have to be mad anymore. I was mad at the world. And that was the reason why I was acting or reacting the way that I was to the world and to other people. Because out of the grief and the things that I was experiencing as a youth, the trauma of not having a father and seeing others be able to enjoy their dad and not me being able to enjoy and have mine in my life. So I treat the person who wanted to love me and teach me how to be a man, if you will, in a very spiteful, evil way. But once again, one day, after some things took place in my life of me meeting some people who were different than I was. They had a relationship with God, if you will, and it totally left an impression on my life. Like, these people are always happy. Why am I not happy? Why am I so bitter at such a young age? And they're always happy. This one guy, I'll never forget his name, Darren Walker. He's my best friend even to today. I would just watch and observe him in school, wondering like, what is it about him that is so different? Why is things seem to like going great for his life? He's always happy, all these other things. And I'm always bitter and sad and wanting to fight people. But that's how it all started. Me observing someone else that was my age at the time, that was living a lifestyle of gratitude, love, and serving other people. And so it initially started there, if you will, with my stepdad, but more so when someone who was at the same level as I was, if you will. Wow. And so that's what started the course of me wanting to help other people, because Darren helped me. He would talk to me and tell me how, what a great guy I was and all these other things that I was not necessarily hearing all the time. But he told me that, hey, John, you have a future. And I didn't understand that because, once again, I was mad and I was angry and I was bitter at the world and also at God. So that one relationship that was equal to me, if you will, put me on this path and this journey that's totally changed and revolutionized my life at the age of 17, 18. And I'll never forget it. We're still friends to this day.
Wow, what a phenomenal story. It is it's such an inspiration to us to hear, because I know, John, there is someone in the audience that has obstacles that they have to overcome. Maybe they haven't come across someone that can help them. You are here this evening giving your testimony, impacting their lives. If it's not someone in the audience, it's someone that they know. So I want to commend you on, coming on here and sharing that story. It is so, so inspirational. Thank you so much. And it shines through. It really, I love the energy that you have, because there is love, there is acceptance. And I mean, we are thousands of miles, and in South Africa, we use kilometers, away from each other, but I feel that energy and I love it. Thank you so much for blessing us with that.
Yeah. And I would add, Juanita, he didn't give up on me.
Yeah.
There were days where, like, I would think like, I don't want to hang around people like him, like they're boring or whatever, not even knowing what in essence, what his lifestyle, what his life was really like. I just knew that there was something different about the kid, and I wanted to be or model something like it. And like I said, the relationship with my stepdad, he wasn't mean to me or treated me evil or anything like that. He was very nice to me, gave me anything and everything I wanted. My sisters and I, he wanted to definitely be the father figure in my life. I just didn't want that.
Yeah.
So until that time where I decided, once again, I don't have to be mad at anyone. I can love people. But there was a change that took place when I met that guy, Darren.
Amazing. It's amazing how the right people cross our paths at the right time. I love that. And I always tell people that anger, because I speak from my own experience, that anger is pain that hasn't been dealt with. And there was someone that just crossed your path and they helped you to face that pain, to deal with it. And today you help and uplift others. And we had a lovely virtual coffee. And I realized, and I said to you, your approach is so unique. You have a holistic approach in helping people. Would you elaborate on that for the audience, please?
Sure. So that holistic approach would be spirit, soul, and body. We want the three parts of the being, three parts of us, man, woman, whomever, that when you realize that you're a three-person being, spirit, soul, and body, and that you want them all to be synergized together, to work together, that obviously if they're not working together, that's when different things take place that may not be the best for us. So if my body is not in line with my heart, my spirit, if you will, or my soul is not in line with my spirit, that the things and desires that I really want in life, that it won't take place because we're not in one accord. So being in one accord, spirit, soul, and body does make a difference. And I can actually build this outer body. Like we know I'm into physical fitness, right? We'll probably talk about it later. But what about my soul? What about my mind? You know what I'm saying? My mind has to be renewed daily, because we know there's things that we can observe on TV. Our mind wasn't necessarily wired to do some of the things that we would like to do. Our mind is wired, our soul, if you will, is wired to, brain is wired to protect us. So when we want to launch out and do those great, big, awesome things, if we don't put ourselves, our mind in a position to be open to the world and open to possibilities, our mind will stop the flow of our spirit. Because our spirit, I believe that inward person, that inward being, our spirit being, the one that's connected, is the being, the person in me, basically, that wants to reach for more, wants to excel, wants to do great things, wants to be the servant leader. But if my mind is not in alignment with that, it'll tell a totally different story. Each and every one of us tell stories every single day to ourselves, according to what we think, what we put our mind towards, we put our focus and attention goes, because where focus goes, energy flows. So if I put my mind, my attention, my brain power, if you will, towards a particular direction, that's what I'm going to receive in my life. And my brain, my soul, if you will, if it's connected to things that are not necessarily healthy, then guess what's going to override my spirit? It's going to be my soul. So I want them to be in line, spirit and soul. And my body, I just want my body to be here long on the earth. So I'm going to take care of it, good care of it, I'm going to build it up. Eat the great things that are keep it alive and running smooth and healthy, if you will.
Amazing. I love the approach that you take. In ministry, I found that when people had problems, and I mean, we are people. We all go through things, John. You know, I know. We are authentic leaders. We can get out there and say it in the open. But in the ministry, I always found when I worked with people that came in for help that there was this big gap in the way that we helped people, because they either sent the person to a doctor because they thought the person might have a chemical imbalance or an illness that's causing the problem and underlying something, or they would send them to a psychologist, or they would send them to a pastor. And I was sitting in a big meeting one day, and I said to the people at the meeting, I said, why do you separate these three things from each other? We are one person. Maybe let them get checked out by each and every area to really find the root of the problem. Because sometimes people only they assume the person has a soul wound and they only send them for pastoral care. But meanwhile, there's something psychologically that needs to be addressed, and maybe their diet is wrong. That's why they are feeling lethargic or they're not exercising. I said, bring these things together. Because we are three in one. We have to be body, soul, and spirit. And that's why the moment you mentioned that in our virtual coffee, my eyes just lit up and I was like, yay!
Yeah, for sure. I agree to that. And I would say this and add, I actually have a therapist. So for me, like growing up, I always thought like, okay, people that need a therapist probably have major issues, major problems, the kind we don't want to talk about. And I thought like, I don't have those issues, so I don't want a therapist. But then you start looking into it. And what happened is I ended up going to a Tony Robbins event and hearing how there are coaches and there are therapists. I never had a coach a day in my life besides when I was in middle school and ran track. So I didn't really know what a coach was for someone who's a grown up. Are you kidding me? And so I ended up hiring a coach last year, which was one of the best things I've ever done in my life. That was absolutely phenomenal. And then this year I hired a therapist, have a therapist in my life who's helping me to uncover those things, maybe that mindset that has been there, the mind has been there in me that I want to eradicate out, if you will. Like, why does John think this way? And she's clinical. She is the best ever. But I mean, she's someone who has went to school and studied this stuff. She knows a lot about the mind. She knows a lot about the soul, and it's helped me to uncover a lot of things that, I never understood why I thought like that. Now, that question that she just posed to me to think about these thought challenging and what thought challenging is. I had never heard of that before. And I've read a lot of books, but thought challenging and doing that throughout the day and how that's helped me in my relationship. Like, it's made a huge difference. And so I would highly recommend, if anyone does not have a therapist, to get a therapist in your life. This may not be just for, you may be one of those who think like, once again, like I did, like John, I don't have any major issues or anything like that. It's not just for someone who has issues. A therapist is someone who can help you, who can coach you, who can guide you and give you some little tweaks, little tools to be able to see something that you maybe have not seen before that helps you get into that next level. And that's what I absolutely love about it. So I highly recommend a therapist and a coach.
I agree with you. And it takes a huge amount of humility to realize that, because we train people, we lead people, we guide them, but we also need people to uplift us. I read a lovely quote the other day. It was someone that posted, never trust a coach that doesn't have a coach.
I 100% agree. I feel almost like a coach that doesn't have a coach is almost like someone equated to like being a pond. You look at a pond, it has water in it. Yeah. The water can give life, if you will. Is it something that you can sustain and live off of for a long time? Probably not, but I want to be in relationship with, in conjunction with, working with someone who is also doing the work. Because I believe that's what's going to make the difference.
I love that you articulated that so well. Absolutely. Your focus is on intentional mindset and fitness. And how do you approach these tasks?
Oh my gosh. So this is a great question. So with mindset and fitness, oh gosh. So I personally have dealt with this in that I had this ideal that I had to have, my body had to look a certain way, and that maybe I had to eat certain things. And I'm noticing more and more, especially with going through all these courses I've gone through to become a certified personal trainer, that
Yeah.
mindset is really the biggest issue with those who want to get on a path or a journey towards physical fitness, because your mind will tell you that you can't do certain things. Your mind will tell you, hey, you don't have the energy to do this, or you don't have the energy to do that, because your brain wants to do what? Protect you, right? It wants to keep you from maybe not stepping out of the four walls or the boundaries that maybe you've set to reach for more. Well, our heart, once again, our spirit wants to always reach for more. So it's just such an interesting topic there. But what mindset, where the mind goes, this body will follow. So if I can learn how to control this thing, then everything else is going to come to conjunction and be easier to work and to deal with, if you will. So mindset, the way we think, is huge when it comes to fitness, the way that we see ourselves. Because if I see myself coming into fitness, physical fitness, that, this is something that I want to do because I want to go on a short vacation coming up soon, it's not going to be something that's going to last for a long time. We want to have the idea that this physical fitness is something that I want to get into because I want to be healthy, spirit, soul, and body. So mindset does play a huge part of it, renewing your mind and knowing what it is exactly that you want out of the physical fitness journey.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know you work with athletes as well, people from different arenas. I'm sure they just flock to the information that you give and the vibrant manner that you deliver it. And I always tell people, what is the difference between a gold medalist and a silver medalist? They work the same. They work exactly the same routines. They eat the same diets. They are physically on par. It's that mindset. The one had a stronger mindset than the other one. So to cultivate a mindset is extremely important in everything. So audience, reach out to John Davis Jr., because that's how you're going to find John, and let him help you to cultivate a healthy mindset so that the rest of you can fall into place. That is so, so important for success in anything.
For sure. And I attest to that. Like I said, I'm a walking model of it, and I'm modeling those that have laid the path before me and seen it, like Tony Robbins. I mean, I've been to a few of his meetings, and you see the way that his mind goes when he shares, where focus goes, energy flows. So where I put my mind, my attention to, that's what I'm going to reap the benefits of the harvest off, if you will. So if I put my mind and my attention to getting physically fit because I want to experience and live out a full life, I want to live out the days that I have here on this earth, it's going to take a mindset to me sometimes saying no to certain things and yes to others that I may not have the idea that I would say yes and no to. Those words, yes and no, are so interesting. That yes is a 3-letter word, but no is that 2-letter word. We typically avoid saying a lot of times that 2-letter word, which is letter no. But there's some things in life when it comes to the mindset that we have to say no to. And it's not that hard. It's literally 2 words that us human beings having us spirit beings having this human experience sometimes find so hard to say that word no. I will say no to this so I can say yes to these other things. It's just so interesting to talk about it in that light.
I love it. And you're touching on a point that's very close to my heart, because in the ministry, when I was young, we are young, we want to do everything and we want to be everywhere. And I could never say no. And I burnt out, like frequently. I would be like busy, burnout, restore, busy, burnout. And the other day, actually last week, I was very tired last week. For some reason, I traveled far, and I think maybe, with everything just so busy, and I was going to do something with someone, I was going to go on a live, and I actually contacted them, and my words were, my body is speaking to me. I can't do the live today. I'm just going to take a break for the day.
Yeah. And sometimes I think, listen to you say that, Juanita, I think a lot of times we as servant leaders, we have this idea that we have to be the yes man, the yes woman, that if someone asks of us to do something, we all have to always say yes. Well, no is just as powerful as saying yes. It may be a no now, but friend, when I get to the place where I can say yes to whatever this is that may be the task at hand, I'm going to be able and equipped to edify you in whatever way that needs to be, that needs to be. So saying no, like that used to be hard for me as well throughout all of my life. I just felt like a bad person telling someone no to maybe something that was presented to me. I would always be that yes person. And you will eventually, you can burn out by saying yes to every single thing and not forgetting the person that person, me, you, that you have this being to take care of as well as you're trying to take care of the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You said it so well. You hit that nail right on the head. And I loved a post. I saw a post of yours on Facebook, and I'm going to read it because it inspired me. And I would love for you to, discuss it with the audience. And it goes as follows. Do it now. Do it now. Do it now. That thing you've been sitting on, the dream that you've allowed to rest, that relationship that needs to be rekindled. You are so deserving, my friend. Do not be afraid. We have delayed enough. Now is the time. Do it now. Do it now. Do it now. You may hear internally, you can't do that. You don't know enough. Arise, my friend. Talk back to that BS belief system. But when I read BS, I saw something else. Do it now. Do it now. And I love the way you said BS belief system. I'm handing it over to you. Please elaborate to the audience.
Yeah. So Juanita, we best connect with people when they tell stories. If I were to stop right now and tell you a story that you could relate to, you will find yourself transfixed on the person telling the story and wanting to hear more, right? You want to know, like, okay, like what was the temperature like and all these different things, like what were the thoughts that you were thinking, what were others experiencing as you were telling this story? I mean, stories help us to be able to understand better. And I'll tell you, with Facebook, a lot of times I'm using Facebook as a journal, if you will. And so when I presented that question of do it now, or to help others, maybe spark a little bit of a fire under others to do it now, I was almost looking in the mirror and telling myself as well, do it now, do it now, do it now. Yeah. Because it's so easy to procrastinate or to put things off into the side because we get so lost and busy with all the things that are going on around the world or in our world specifically. But I was in the gym working out, and I thought, there's something I want to do, and I can either sit idly by and not do it, or I can do it now. The dream that I have in my heart. No one's going to come and pull that dream out or put me in a place to where, like, John, is going to automatically happen. I have to take the initiative and start. I have to take the first step. Yeah. But if we don't take the first step in doing it now, it won't come to fruition. Now, how many people, think about this. If we go to the cemetery and we look at all the tombstones and the graves that are there, how many of those people had goals and dreams? Maybe the next Bill Gates or whomever you would decide them to be or thought they could have been, and they could have been, but yet they rested on that goal, that dream, because of fear. They were afraid. Maybe their brain, this is where, once again, it comes to renewing the mind, because your mind, your brain, if you will, once again, wants to protect you. It doesn't want you to experience pain. It doesn't want you to experience grief. It doesn't want us to experience loss. Yeah. But if I can renew my mind and put my mind into a place of doing it now, I'll get the experiences, I'll get the blessings, I'll get to help other people. I'll be able to be that top level servant leader, because it's not just about me. It's about helping others. I remember this quote. It goes something like, when you help others get what they want, you would in essence get what you're desiring. True. But it starts with us doing it now. So I would submit to those that are watching and listening, what is that thing that's maybe covered in your heart? What are those things maybe that you've placed a couple blankets inside of your heart? You kind of buried it a little bit. Yeah. What will it take for you? Because we have the power in and of ourselves to be able to lift up those blankets, with those power to be able to take that dirt and that rubble, that dust and debris that may be stopping us from stepping into our true being and doing the things that we're really here to offer to the world. Yeah. Do it now. You're listening. I would say, if you're listening right now, do it now. What is that thing? What is it that it's on the inside that you smothered a little bit because you were afraid fear step in, false evidence appearing real. Do it now. But John, you don't understand. I don't have the connections to be able to do that. Do it now. Well, John, you don't understand. I was not raised to be able to do these things that I'm seeing in my heart. Friend, do it now. No one's coming to save you. I've heard it before. I've heard that before a couple weeks ago, and I've heard it before that as well. But it was, remember, someone said a couple weeks ago, and it reminded me, no one's coming to save us. Do it now. You don't know what's on the other side of the do it now. When your brain starts to trip and trigger, because once again, it wants to protect you. No brain, nope. My heart and my soul, I'm speaking to you now to rise up and to do it now. I can do it. A lot of times that word I can't likes to pop to the top. All we traditionally used to do is just take that T off of there. I can do it. And when can I do it? I can do it now. Say it over and over again. I can do it, and I'm going to do it now. Do it now. Do it now. If you're in a place, in a position where you may not be thinking that you can do it, just simply utter those words. Do it now. Do it now. I want to say it was Napoleon Hill that was saying something similar to this, reading one of his books. Do it now. Do it now. Do it now.
Absolutely phenomenal. I agree with you. There is no way to tell yourself, I'm going to wait until I'm ready. That time will never come. And yes, I agree with you. And I found that I realized that the hard way. There's really no one coming for you. It's up to you, like you've mentioned. And that really spoke to my heart. I agree with you. Audience, listen, take to heart what John is saying this evening, because he means it from the best, beautiful, most amazing places in his heart, because he's been through it and he's seen it. Wonderful. So in your opinion, John, something happened in COVID. There were two extremes. We were also busy with life, and the next moment, everything stops. And some people were locked up in their houses, and they started new businesses. They went online and they started new businesses. Or if they had businesses, they scaled those businesses. And other people were locked up in their home, and they became couch potatoes, and they gained weight, and they, didn't do anything. And that's procrastinating. So in your opinion, because I have no clear answer on this, what was the effect that COVID had on people that procrastinate? Did it help it along? Or did it help people out of procrastination? Or what is your opinion on that?
Yeah, so that's a very loaded question. In that with COVID-19, especially here in the United States, it paralyzed a lot of people. In that a lot of folks here that I even know were afraid to go outside. And I understand the fear and the concern that they had, because rightfully so, many people lost their lives, and God rest their soul. It paralyzed people. It put them in a position to where they felt they could not interact with other people. Like, there's a generation that's coming up now that hopefully this does not happen with them. But I mean, there's a generation of kids that all they know is mask in school. And so they're just getting to a place where they can see another person's smile. They're just getting to the place where they can look at someone's smile and be able to determine, like, hey, someone's smiling, so that means that perhaps my brain says that they're happy. Yes. Or if someone's frowning, that maybe I've done something incorrectly. Like, they don't know how to read emotions really, because all they saw was the eyes. Yes. I think kids, a lot of the time, they look here to have an idea of if something's right and wrong. And so not to be able to see that in school and to be able to learn the way that we learn, I think for kids, once again, it's that it probably hindered and set them back in a sense. Now, with those of us who took the time to say, I'm going to pivot, I have to pivot, because if I don't pivot and change, then I will be not in a position to stand tall throughout this pandemic, COVID-19 as we know it. Yeah. So it changed the course for a lot of things. Even the business that I'm in, believe it or not, the business actually increased. because
Yes.
it changed the dynamics of things in that more people were out shopping. Before that, people were going out vacationing all over the world and everything. So people during COVID actually determined to their perspective changes, spent more time in their homes. And so they realized with being inside of their homes, they wanted to be comfortable. And so they took that vacation money, if you will, that they would normally use to go other places to now build the nest at home. So for my business and what I do, it changed tremendously. It was an absolute phenomenal year. Once again, that's not to neglect or forget that others experience loss and trauma with it. But yeah, it did change a lot of things. This made me realize now that, my goodness, if I had started on this track of physical fitness in the beginning of COVID-19 instead of the tail end of it, I would probably have hundreds of clients because a lot of people were not going to gyms. Gyms were not open. And so if you started off personal training business online, I mean, who would have thought I'm going to hire a personal trainer? He's going to be virtual, or he's going to email me information on, he's going to email me a diet plan and tell me what macros are and all other things. Like, who would have thought? And I mean, it blew up. Now, like I said, unfortunately, I'm on the trail end of it, but I'm still going to make it worth what it is and be able to help people in that way. But yeah, for a lot of different industries, it changed the business overall.
Yes, I like that mindset. You were like, you are going to get into it and you're going to, just do it and uplift people. That is amazing. And yes, actually for me, COVID was the worst year, but it was also the best year. Because, my mom passed away from brain cancer. So many things happened. The church closed. But with that, it really spurred me on to really focus on the things that make me happy, that I'm passionate about, that's my purpose in life. So a part of me had to die so that the part of me that needs to be out there in the world could live. So I think, a lot of things happened, but our sincerest condolences to people who lost family and friends. I had people in my congregation that passed away. It was horrible. But I'm glad to see that we are, as you said, getting over that fear now, and the kids are getting to a place where they can have a normal life again, because it's not fair. Yeah.
And another thing would be is that with COVID-19 is it taught you that you had to deal with you because you spent more time with yourself.
Yes.
I mean, I was home many days. Like I remember even when the country pretty much shut down, 2 weeks I went without working, and 2 weeks I sat in the living room or would run outside or whatever I was doing at the time. But I didn't get to spend much time with other people. So I had to face the man in the mirror, which is John Davis. And I got to see some other things in John that needed to be changed or pivot or redirect my attention and focus and other things. I read a lot of books during that time, a lot of books. But I made the most out of that situation. But exceedingly glad that we're on the opposite tail end of it now.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I love the fact that you challenge people's beliefs because you help them to discover their power. I mean, we went through it ourselves, and therefore, we feel comfortable challenging other people. So tell us more about how you help them to renew their minds.
Well, so the first thing you mentioned was one of the words, the B word, B word being beliefs. Beliefs govern everything that we think, say, and do. So with my mind, my belief system, whatever it may be right now, in the position that I'm in right now, whatever's going on, that focus, that attention, that energy, wherever it is right now, is going to determine what I think, what I say, and what I do. You can really determine the place that a person is by listening to what they say. Because it's, in essence, when you're listening to someone, you listen with the ear to hear, you can hear what's going on in their soul. You can hear what's going on in their mind. You can hear the belief system that's governing them. You can tell definitely where the path of a person by just listening to them. That was one of the most interesting things that I had heard years ago about beliefs, and getting acquainted with Tony Robbins a couple years ago and going to a few of his conferences and just having that whole experience of Date with Destiny and Business Mindset. And there was another one I went to, UPW, Unlimited Power. And he spoke a lot about beliefs, a lot about beliefs. He never said beliefs govern everything you think, say, and do in that particular order, but he pretty much worked around that. And that, once again, what's going on in the heart or in the mind of a man will determine what he gets on his outside place, basically. Mm-hmm. So that's definitely beliefs govern everything we think, what, say, and what do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, at the virtual coffee, we talked about the fact that dieting, because sometimes beliefs also have to do with our dieting and the way we eat and the food that we make. There's a lot of aspects that are intertwined there. And dieting, you said, doesn't have to be a dreaded activity. There are ways to make sure individuals can still enjoy the foods they love while dieting. Would you explain that to the audience? Because, we all have that favorite food. And I've met people that are on diets, John, and they think they have to eat lettuce and drink water. And let me tell you, they are miserable after the first week. And we don't want to live that way.
Right. And they're especially upset if they're around someone like us, Juanita, like you and I, right? We're eating a nice, I don't know, I don't really eat pork chops, but like maybe some bacon or something like that. And they think like, oh my gosh, that smells really good. This lettuce has no smell, something like that. But what we're basically talking about is that we have an unhealthy mindset when it comes to fitness and food. So we think that in order to get this physique, whatever it may be that you want to get, whether it's the muscles or whatever it may be, that you have to eat a certain way. Now, I wouldn't want to tell anyone that you don't have to eat certain foods. I would not say that. Like, you definitely want to eat have some type of routine of eating clean, if you will. But what I'm getting at is this notion to where you can't eat the things that you absolutely love, like me being from the South Louisiana, to be exact. We love Cajun and Creole food. So I want gumbo. I want sweet potato pie. Yes. If my grandma would make a lettuce burger for Thanksgiving, we would absolutely want to have her examined. Now, hey, that is not me judging anyone else that may be something that you love to do. If you love it, friend, blessings, more power to you. But we love fried turkey. We love ham with glaze and pineapples and cherries on top with a little bit of Coca-Cola and brown sugar. But what I'm basically getting at is that with fitness, mindset, and eating, is that when we learn this term macros or macronutrients, which is your carb, protein, and fat intake, with manipulating those, you can lose, gain, or maintain the current or existing weight that you have now. Wow. If you learn how to track those things, you can actually work around eating the things that you love. So I know that, hey, I'm going to dinner tonight, and there's a place across the street, they have cheesecake, or they have banana pudding. I absolutely love banana pudding. If I were to show you guys a picture or see my body right now, you'll think like, surely he does not eat banana pudding or fried turkey or anything fried for that reason. I actually do. And the way that I do that is I learn to track around my macros, once again, which is my fat, carb, and protein intake. You can manipulate those. You learn what it is that you need to gain, maintain, or lose weight. And you can eat the things that you love. Now, I'm not saying that I'm going to eat sweet potato pie all day. That's going to be a lot of fat, but it's going to be an imbalance. So now I'm not going to get the protein intake that I need. And the carb is going to be a little bit heavy as well. So it's learning the balance, if you will, Juanita. So you can have that piece of pie. You can have those chips, but also track what you're eating. And it's easy to track. It's not as hard as people think it is. I'm actually doing a program next week with a friend where she wants to talk about macronutrients. So I'm going to teach her team on how you can track macronutrients or macros and be able to eat the things you love and also get the body that you desire. But there are ways around.
Phenomenal. You can be happy. You can eat what you want. To just figure out how to do it, when and how, and that's why we need John. But I was thinking
all things in moderation.
I was thinking something while you were talking. I was thinking I'm going to be with you and Grandma for Thanksgiving next year because that sounds lovely.
So this year I'm gonna be with some friends, and they're in for a treat if I'm able to cook something.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
friends and
No, the
partner, can't
recipes
wait.
just sound
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, amazing. Wonderful. So, how can individuals take ownership of their own self leadership? How can they take ownership? And that is bodies, their business, their life. Jim Hetherington speaks about life, love, and business. That's the three areas that he focuses on. How can they take ownership of that?
Yeah. So having a picture of where you would like to be and recognizing where we are now. So if I want to go to point C, but I don't realize that I'm at point A and don't have a growth track to be able to get there with these little incremental goals, if you will, I won't be able to get to destination C, if you will. Hopefully that's kind of like broken down some. But in essence, we have to know what it is that we really want out of life, because life is going to serve us what we want. Mm-hmm. But we'll have to work for it. We have to do it now, if you will, to step out. So hopefully does that answer your question?
It does. I love that. I absolutely love that. And the moment that we take ownership is the moment that things change. If we avoid and we run away, nothing will ever change. And, we will just be stuck in the same cycle, going through the same guilt, always just feeling like we could achieve more, and we just don't reach that mark. The best thing to do is to take ownership today and to say, well, this is what I'm going to do.
Right. Yeah. And that's a mindset thing there it's going to take some work. Because once again, our brains are wired to protect us. It doesn't want us to experience pain and loss. And so when us reminding or renewing our mind, if you will, and talking to our brain, thought challenging, saying, no, when I do this, it's going to cause this to happen. Yes. Or this is what I'm expecting to receive from doing this. Because when we put our expectation out, expectation is such a big, huge word that I think we've lost the essence of. Because what we expect is what we will attract in our lives. So it does make a huge difference.
Absolutely. I love that self-talk, the accountability to yourself. And, having a professional like you training and guiding people, that helps to come to that realization. Actually, it's essential that we have, trainers and coaches and mentors like you in our lives. Now, I saw a live you did on Facebook, and you said you have to see it before you see it.
Yeah.
And this is a lovely concept. Please tell the audience, how does that work?
Yeah. So I'll say this first. Expectation is the breathing grounds for miracles. So when I said or used that term, said that phrase, you have to see it before you see it. What I was speaking is seeing it internally first. You think about things that we're able to enjoy right now. Like right now, I'm able to talk to Juanita. She's in South Africa. I am in a totally different continent, thousands of miles away. Someone saw in their heart that I can build a device to be able to transmit information from one country to another to have this connection take place. But they saw it internally first. I also mentioned this. Think about the cars that we drive. Someone probably got really upset about walking everywhere they went and say, you know what? There's something that I see on the inside that may have 2 or 4 wheels that can drive us from one place to another, instead of us taking days and weeks and months to be able to get from one place to another.
Wow.
They saw it internally before they saw it externally. So once again, expectation, there's an expectation there, which is the breathing grounds for miracles again. They saw something in their heart, but they didn't just allow it to stay there. They didn't pile things on top of it. They probably meditated on it a little bit, then began to write things out. They saw it here and it pulled it out of there into this physical world that we touch, that we see, that we smell. So we have to see it here before we can manifest it or see it out here. Yeah. So once again, to speak to those that are listening, what you're seeing in the inside, what you're seeing in your heart, if you want it out here, the great thing about it is you're already seeing it in here. Now find a way by doing it now, do it now to make it manifest and appear out here so we can enjoy it.
Amen to that. Preach it. I love that. I love that. My jaw is dropping every time you give an answer. I just go. Keep it up, keep it up. And our time, I mean, we are almost through our session. I can't believe it. It just flew by because it was just so wonderful.
Yeah, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So it's us taking the time to develop ourselves to where we have something to offer, something to give, to be that servant leader that we have. So that's why when you asking these questions, I mean, it's in my heart. So it's easy for it to just come out. Because when you spend time learning and studying these things and helping other people, I can't help someone if I don't have the tools necessary to be able to do such. So it's good for us to put ourselves in place and position to be able to do these things, to be able to learn and study, and just to help people be that servant leader.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And that brings us to the last two questions. We want to say thank you for sharing your knowledge and your experience. And we want to know what is next for you so that we can, follow you, cheer you on, support you. What is next for you and how can we get involved?
Yeah, so thank you for asking this question. So there's a few things that I'm working on a lot. But one of them is with the physical fitness journey and mindset. So what I'm doing right now is I am in a background building a Facebook community and also finishing up all my courses to become a certified personal trainer, which I'm pretty much done with that. I just need to take the test, which is going to be easy. But essentially, people can search me or look me up under John Davis Jr. or Intentional John, believe it or not, because everything I do, conversations that I have, this conversation with you, Juanita, this is intentional. And I put my heart, my being, my soul into doing this with you so that people can have actually something to receive and be able to take and utilize in the area or with friends and family and whatnot. But yeah, so I actually have an app, haven't released it yet. But I'll be able to work with people to where I can track what they're doing. We can have feedback through all this app. I can know what their goals are. If they have an Apple Watch, it makes it even easier. So I can be able to track what they're doing and get them on a journey, the physical fitness journey that they have in mind. So it's really cool. I'll have like actual workouts of me on this app that people can follow and do and get into this particular routine. I'll be able to help them and teach them how to track and calculate macros, which would be good. So we can still eat the things that we love, but also get the body we desire and live that long, lovely life, because it's all about really longevity. So that's a couple of things that I'm working on. Also a book as well, which we could talk about maybe another time or something.
Beautiful. Yes. I mean, you must keep us up to date. We want to support you in everything, and cheer you on this journey. And when I asked that question, what's next for you? I was thinking in the back of my mind, John is busy. I know he's got a couple of things lined up because your mindset is in the right place.
Right. And a full-time job.
Oh, my goodness. I have so much respect for you. And we just enjoyed you so much. And that brings us to the last question of the evening. Do you have any words of wisdom for the audience that you would like to share?
Yeah. So I would actually regurgitate something that we said earlier. It's kind of like a really weird word to say, regurgitate, but rehash, if you will, a word that we said earlier. Do it now. 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 Those three words. I would like to challenge those that are listening. Because if you've listened this far along, you're probably wanting more, that you're hungry for more. And this person that's hungry is the person that's going to receive more. The person that's hungry is going to respond differently to life. Mm. But that person has to do it now, do it now, do it now. Mm. So the things that you're wanting in life right now, it's not going to happen unless there's some action that takes place with these thoughts and beliefs. So my word to everyone, Juanita, would be just do it now.
I love it. And as you are speaking it, I feel it piercing through all the self-limiting beliefs that I have straight into my heart. And I was seeing things that I've been, putting on hold for too long in my mind, because God speaks to me in pictures. So when you say do it now, do it now, do it now, I know now I have direction. And I want to thank you for opening that up to me and the audience, John. You are a gift to the world and to the leadership community. We just absolutely adore you. Thank you so much for everything.
Yeah, sure enough. I appreciate it. This was great. Loved it.
Absolutely. It was phenomenal. And to the Meticulous Moments audience, Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to make John's contact details available after the session and on the social media post. Cheer him on, network with him, reach out to him, make use of his services. He's got an app that's coming. He's got a book that's coming. Watch this space because John is transforming a lot of areas in leadership. And with that, we want to say thank you and have a lovely night. Goodbye.
Goodbye.